Hello everybody. In this video, what we're going to do is talk a little bit about Apptivo invoicing and show you all about the brand new mobile invoicing application. So for agenda today, we're going to keep this nice, short and sweet. We'll start off just for those of you who are brand new, you're just interested in what the invoicing app is. We'll talk about what invoicing is in general to Apptivo and what the platform is. Then we'll dive straight into just in general with this mobile Invoices app, what can you do with it? But then for those of you who have had the previous app, we'll cover kind of what's different and these big new upgrade, what's been included inside of there. And then at the end, for those of you who have not yet started, we'll kind of run through just, the quick steps that you need to know about in order to get yourself set up and sending off your first invoice to the customer. Okay, so with that, let's hop in. To start off, it's first too important to understand what Apptivo is. So Apptivo is an integrated suite of many different business apps, and invoicing is just one of those applications. So it's a great system in the manner where it's based around an app store, just like your mobile phone. So the idea is that you can pick and choose just the apps that you want to have. So in that case, many of you will just be using the invoicing application, but it works seamlessly with all of these other applications inside of Apptivo. So there's marketing, sales, project management tools, lots of things available at your disposal. But specifically, there's lots of mobile accessibility built in. So you're here because we're talking about the mobile invoicing application. And when you talk about invoicing in particular, there's actually a lot of in-depth features. So it works great as a simple system just to create and send off invoices to your customers. It's perfect because I can be on the go, on site, write down a couple services, send it to them immediately, capture the payment, and I'm all done right there. But then there's really a lot of depth to the system. So if you want, even from the web app, which the mobile app integrates seamlessly with, you can go from either side and get to all of your information. There's things like automatic payment reminders, you can do reporting on revenue, lots of different tools available, but just like we were talking about with the App Store, it's really just a matter of picking and choosing which settings are relevant to you. So like I said, there's lots of cool stuff to do inside of the web application, but we're not really going to show too much inside of here. You can get a feel for the depth available, but really there's only a couple key configuration settings which you need to be worrying about. And really, you can set up Apptivo and go send an invoice without any sort of configuration ahead of time. So let's kind of focus in and let's get into the mobile invoicing application. So when we talk about just in general what's available, we'll just keep it very, very high level. There's three main things that you can do. So you can create and email invoices to your customers and capture the payments against them. So typical sending off your invoices. Then we have the ability to search through any invoice inside of there. Every invoice that's been created, I can search based on any criteria, dig through historical invoices, bring them up, resend them, whatever I want to do. And then I can manage all my activities and information about my invoices. So I can schedule reminders, I can place a phone call about an overdue invoice and capture any sort of notes and do that all within the mobile application. So yes, there's a little bit more from the web app, but even inside of there, you can kind of break down invoicing to those kind of high level activities. But then specifically what's new inside of the invoicing app, there's a lot of new details. So in general, right when we boot it up, we're going to see there's a totally fresh experience that you'll go through. It's come up to date with the new V6 technology. It's been brought up to date with Apptivo's latest design. And what you're going to see is there's a lot of just little UX improvements that they're going to add up to be a lot. So specifically, when we hop in here and create an invoice, you're going to see that we're able to do it without actually touching anything on the keypad, which is quite nice. But it's very, very quick to create invoices now. Then otherwise, previously you had very limited capabilities in browsing through your invoices. Now you can search based on any field. So you come up with any criteria, you can search, and we can even bring up custom lists that we've generated from the web app and view them inside of the mobile apps now. Then custom fields. So now everything is fully supported. We actually have some very complex things that you can do. You can generate custom formula attributes, custom tables, lots of stuff that you can do if you want to hop in there and really tear it apart. And everything is fully supported between the mobile and the web app. So then other than that, there's the activities. So now we support tracking calendar events. And if you have the Google Sync, we can sync a calendar event that you schedule from the mobile app on an invoice. And then it syncs over to your Google Calendar, syncs into the CRM. So everything's interconnected. And then of course you can take notes, and we even allow you to attach files inside of the mobile app now. So then right there, we saw you can both perform calls. I can send follow-up emails against my overdue invoices from the field using the mobile application. And basically, I can upload any sort of files, anything like that I want. So really, it's just kind of bringing it up to the same level of functionality that you got from the web app. So almost everything you can do in the web, other than configuration and reporting, is now going to be supported within the mobile app. So we're going to talk about getting started in a moment. Basically, I'm going to hop in. We're actually going to share the screen off of my Android phone, and we're going to go create some invoices. I'm going to show you around the tool. So we're going to go run through and create an invoice. I'll show you how the customer works, and we'll just explain it as we go. And we'll go run through this step where first you have to sign up for an Apptivo account and get the Invoices app. So you'll see there's a few different apps from Apptivo. Just download the Apptivo Invoices. They do all work with the same email and password if you already have an account. And once you get that app on your phone, you'll normally want to do a little bit of setup. So if you're brand new to Apptivo, normally I recommend that you sign up from the web and go upload your logo and such. There's some basic details there. So then when you're sending invoices from the mobile app, it'll actually take your standard template of how you want your invoices to look. So there's actually a really nice drag and drop editor so we can create these fresh looking designs. You can actually have a couple different types of designs for different types of invoices. And all that stuff can be set up from the web. But then once you have it set up, you can use all that when sending invoices from the mobile app. But then what we're really going to run through is creating an invoice on the mobile app. So at that point, there is like a customer database that you get to reuse as time goes on. You can have a standard set of items that you want to include in your invoices with their pricing. And yes, there's apps where you can go manage that in the web, but from the mobile app, you can actually create brand new customers. You can have brand new contacts. You can have brand new items and services. So there's nothing that means you have to go back to the web. If you want, you can go download the app on your mobile phone. You can sign up from inside of the mobile app. You can send your first invoice immediately. You don't have to go through any of the configuration steps. So that's just totally depending on what you need to get out of the app. You can always sign up from the mobile app and then later on go log into the web with your email and password, and you'll be able to go start changing things from there. So with that, let's hop in and let's bring up this cool screen sharing software here. And now we're looking at my cell phone. So what I'll do is I'll show you a little bit of the web app, but first let's kind of hop in and we're just going to click on Apptivo Invoices. So what I'll do is I'll use my mouse a little bit, but then I'll also sometimes just be moving up and down. So if you see the screen move without the mouse doing anything, that's just me using my finger on the phone. So here, on the home page, we'll kind of just break everything down. Right when you come into the app, you get the list of views. So these are all of your different pages and ways to filter through your invoices. So what you see is in the upper right corner, we have the ability to search through any of our existing invoices. And then over on the left, we have all of our standard lists. So I could just view all of my invoices, get that list right there. Then I can go back to my main page. Or I could view them by status. So here I'll see the different statuses. So I can say, show me all my paid invoices. Then it loads those up. Or I can step back to the home page. And you also have My Views and Shared Views. So these are features that are brand new in the new app where if I have a custom view created from inside of the web, like my organization invoices, I can click on that and it will load my custom saved results straight from the web. So this one, I've actually got a custom field that determines whether my invoice is sent to an individual or an organization. So here I'm filtering all my invoices based on which invoices have been sent to organizations. So now you can do these sorts of things. And then, of course, I can click on any invoice and it will just bring up the details. But now this detailed view, what you can see here, it's much more enhanced. So we're looking at an invoice that's already been generated. And let's just kind of look at the components of it. So one is you have some buttons up top, but let's kind of come back to these because the main content is right here. You just have all the fields that you've configured. So as we scroll down, you see some standard stuff, invoice number, the status of it, the customer. Then we'll have the date it was sent and you have payment terms. So one thing is you'll notice that it's linked up with the customer, Diablo Vista Elementary. There's actually an app in Apptivo called Customers that's storing information like the address, and phone number, and the payment term right here. So what you have is one standard area where as long as you set up the payment term on Diablo Vista in the Customers app, every time you come to the mobile app and generate an invoice, it'll automatically pull that information in here. So same thing with your phone number and the email address that we see right here. This is all pulled from the customer. And then we'll see that we can discount it. You'll see my custom field to track whether it's an organization or whether it's an individual. This PDF template, that's going to be the design. So when I said that you can have a different presentation, maybe I have one presentation for individuals and one presentation for organizations, I could select that right here. Then scrolling down, you can have a message to your customer. And by the way, all of these are completely configurable. So this is pretty close to the standard set of fields you'll see right when you sign up. But you can actually go in and if any of these don't look relevant, you can remove them. Or, as you saw I did earlier, you can add your own custom fields and rearrange them into your own custom sections as well. So I can look through all the details, but here I'm going to get down and I'm going to get into the actual services. So right out of the box, what you're going to have is you're going to have a section called products and one section called services. But it's important to know that really what it means is you have services are just kind of write-in ones where you get to write in a service, you define hours, and then a rate. So these are good because you can create them on the fly. They don't have to clutter up your main database, but the items are good for reusable types of services. So if you have standard packages or physical products, or even if you have a standard hourly rate, we can go put that into the item section. So that way, every time you create an invoice, you just start typing in the item, you select it from a list, and it will automatically pull in your pricing and details that you want to track. So in this case, I've just added a ad hoc service. So you see I punched in 3 hours and a rate of 85, and then the amounts are all calculated for you. So basically what we have is the overview. That's all the details of the invoice. But then if I click up top, what this menu does is it's the equivalent of the tabs inside of Apptivo. This is all the related information. So one thing you might want to say is, what's the history of the invoice? When was it sent? Did they pay it? Did they email me about it? Anything like that. So you can click on this newsfeed feature right here, and it'll give you a breakdown. So in this case, I just created it 14 hours ago. Nothing has happened since then. But let's say if the client had responded via email, the system can automatically track that, and it would show that update right here. Or potentially I modified the amount and I discounted and resent it out. It would show that update right here as well. Then otherwise what you see is when we talked about being able to manage activities, like if I wanted to set a reminder to call them about this invoice tomorrow, I can use the calendar and I can actually come in and I can schedule a new calendar event. And this goes right back into your main Apptivo agenda. So that's quite useful. And if you have the Google Sync set up, it can sync right back to your Google Calendar. And then we can come right back in, and you'll see now when I'm looking at the calendar for this invoice, I see there's a reminder. But also if we hop back into the newsfeed, well, it usually takes a minute or two, but after a moment this would update, and it would show that we have scheduled a calendar event with them as well. Otherwise, you see all the different options. So I mentioned that you can place phone calls and email them. So what I can do is I can actually draft up an email right from here. There's a full email client, and you can even have standard templates. So I could have a template to follow up on an overdue invoice, things like that. It's actually an automated reminder system if you'd like to leverage it. But in general, these are all the details. And then you have actions you can perform against this invoice. So that's what these buttons in the upper right corner are. So these are kind of the standard quick actions. Like if you want to quickly schedule an activity, so I can add the event directly from here without having to go to the calendar first. Or another case would be like adding a note. So just being able to do it very fast. And then the 3 dots in the upper right corner right up here. So the previous menu was this one. And then the 3 dots, these are your invoice specific one. So I can either search through all my emails or do an advanced search. That's specific to this emails tab. But then you'll see when I'm on, when you're on a specific invoice, clicking the actions up here, it's the 4 dots. These are the invoice specific actions. So you can either download the PDF file to your phone, because sometimes you just need to get the PDF file and then maybe you're going to copy it to a computer or something and then have it printed out. Or the send button, this will go and draft an email. So if I ever want to resend it, I can just click this button and it will open it up and we'll begin drafting and sending an email to them. So you see it just fills in everything for you, which we'll see this when we create our new invoice. And then the other option is to, archive, avoid it, or when you're collecting a payment. So right here, if I already had an existing invoice, I can record that, yes, I have received a check for it. And the check number is 995. And that fully pays off my invoice because you do support partial payments. So I can record half the invoice and leave it open and send them an updated invoice with the remaining balance. But basically, those are all the details. So as you can see, you can pretty much do whatever you need to do with this one particular invoice. But let's show you how to create a brand new invoice. So whenever I'm on the home page, I've got this blue plus button in the bottom right corner. You just click on that, create a new invoice right here. And as we go through, so you'll see the system will automatically generate numbering. You can adjust that in the settings. And then we have our customer. So this is where it'll allow you to search and link to any existing customer in your system. So I've got all the basic details here, and I could click on this to go and type in somebody's name. So I could go and find, I believe I have one. Oh no, let's just search for Glenn there. and we could get our results with Glenn. Or what I can do is, if I don't have a customer, I mentioned that you can just start off and create an invoice right out of the gate. You don't have to create anything ahead of time. So this plus button up here, this will actually put a brand new customer into the system. So for those of you who are actually using the CRM, the custom fields you generate in the customer's application, they will appear right here. So you can fill in all of your information about a customer completely on the fly, and then they become permanently available. So you'll see I've created like checkboxes and different options like drop-down menus and such, and then it changes them all to the mobile form of how you want to collect that information. So very, very powerful here. It's a full CRM system, but by default, you'll just have a couple simple fields, punch in their name and phone number, because this information is what's permanently reused. So you only have to input them into the system one time, and then once they're in there, if I go click Glenn right here, it's going to start to fill in his information. So some of you might be sending invoices to individuals. Some of you are sending to businesses. That's what this customer and contact are for, is the customer would be the company and contacts the individual. So you can optionally come in and select both of them, or you could actually go and choose to remove the contact field if you'd like. And then that will fill in all this other information like their phone number and such. So I can come through. I could set a different payment term. Let's say this one's an individual invoice. Yeah, maybe we give them like a 10% discount, but actually I think it'll make us wait. Because as we scroll down, we have to add our services. So in this case, I have two different areas where if I wanted to punch in an existing service, you'll see I can come in, I can click on service. I have a list of all my items. So these are like my standard packages and such. So I can just click on one of these. It'll fill in my standard description. It'll pull in my standard pricing, although I could come and adjust that information now. And you can have tax rules built in if you have to charge taxes. So you can put those right into the settings, and then they automatically apply whenever you add an item in here. And otherwise, you could add your own note or usually other custom fields. Like I have this number of photographers field. That's just a custom attribute I've decided to add. And then I could go add many more services if I want. So I add as many services as I'd like. It totals everything up down at the bottom. And when you're ready, we got the create button in the upper right corner. So you click on create and get the two different options. Save for later means you'll save it. Maybe you just want to print it out, or you want to go back to the computer and then send it from there. Emailing will open up a prompt so we can preview the email, and then we can email it directly to the customer right now. So we'll choose to email it. Oh, whoops, looks like maybe, yeah, I have an issue with this service, so we're going to remove that one. And we'll just go add on service here. So what we could just say is that we're doing some photo touch-ups. And we'll just say that we worked on it for 4 hours for $85 per hour. So total up that, and then let's send that one instead. Okay, so we'll choose to email it. Perfect. So the invoice is created now, but now we're previewing the email that will be delivered out. So we see it's going to be sent to Glenn at Minor Tech Solutions, says invoice 1/10/11 sent by SnapTime. And then you can preview the email and everything right here, but it's going to follow the standard template that you set up, and it also automatically creates a PDF file so we can go and view that online. So let's go ahead and send it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to switch out of the mobile app, and let's just go quickly show you the effect. So I'll show you how this email looks to the customer, and then we can go log into the web app, and let me show you how you can instantly bring up this invoice on the website. Okay, so we'll bring up this. I'm already logged into my account, so it's the same exact user, Lori, who we were logged in as into the mobile app as. And here we're looking at the invoices. So right away, if I just come and refresh the page, we'll see the fresh invoices that we were just looking at a moment ago. So Glenn right here is who we just sent, a $340 invoice, and we can bring it right up. So you'll notice all the same information that we captured is visible here, but obviously we've got a much larger screen now, so it reformats. But just so you know, even if you don't have the native mobile app, let's say you're borrowing a friend's cell phone, if I go and I shrink the size of this screen, it will change. And look, now it's a single column just like the mobile app was. So the website itself is actually a mobile-friendly invoicing application. So basically, whatever is most convenient for you to access your information, you can go to it from any source. Then I can perform all the same actions from here, meaning I can send it on the go, and then I can capture a payment right here. But actually, there's one option you have on the payments, which is you could integrate PayPal or a credit card. So let's take a look at the invoice from the customer's perspective. So this is what the customer would receive. I'm logged in and I've received it to Glenn here. So the email itself, you see it's got your logo and such. I've got some basic customization here. And then you can choose not to say generated by Apptivo, but it has basic details in the email. Then what you'll see is it has a PDF file. So I can open this up and you'll see it looks the same as the email message did. Additionally, that email has a hyperlink inside of it. So I can click on this and I can view that invoice online. And then all this just happens completely automatically from the system. But on the hyperlink, depending on how you have it configured, you can show them different payment options available. So these ones you can actually configure where, for example, if I only accepted check, I can disable and hide cash and credit note and wire transfer. So it only shows check. And then you can customize the text that appears here. So I could say, please address checks to SnapTime Incorporated, something like that. Additionally, we integrate with PayPal and Authorize.net and Zipmark for online payments. So if you integrate PayPal, there would just be a button right here that says pay with PayPal. So the customer has whatever option they want. If they determine that they want to pay with PayPal or a credit card, our system is going to automatically capture the payment and send them a receipt. You don't have to do anything. Let's say if they sent you a check, that's where I can record the payment. So as you saw, we could record a payment on the mobile app. If I go bring that up, when I'm looking at this invoice, I could click right here. I click on these 4 squares and I record a payment. Or very commonly, you'll send the invoice when on the go, and then you'll record the payment later on. Let's say they mail it to you. So from the web, I'm looking at the same invoice and I can record the payment here. But what you'll see is between the web and the mobile, it's pretty much all the same options, the same experience. It's just you have more area to work with in the mobile. Plus, the mobile has all of these different settings to help you go through and customize how you want the app to work. So with that, we'll go ahead and we'll wrap up this session. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for everybody for watching. And if you'd like more information or if you'd like to download the app, just head on over to apptivo.com, and underneath the solutions menu, you can find the link for mobile invoices. So thanks a lot, and we'll catch you next time.